Good morning and happy Easter. My name is Ellen Gatelli and I'm the Director of Children's and Youth Ministry at Trinity UMC in Wilmette. And if you've been watching all of my messages, you will know that it's never just me, but also Winston is around. Winston, our dinosaur friend, loves orange juice, and unfortunately today he's very mad at me because last night while I was watching TV, I just wanted some orange juice. Maybe I saw an orange juice commercial and I went to the fridge and I grabbed the very last of the orange juice and I drank all that was left. And when he woke up this morning to have his morning glass of orange juice, it was empty. And I came in and Winston was crying. And I said, Winston, I'm so sorry. I didn't know that I was going to drink the very last of it. I guess I wasn't thinking and I just put it back and I'm so sorry. And Winston has been telling me about all the empty things lately. It's not just the empty carton of orange juice. The church is empty, his school is empty, restaurants are empty, and sometimes Winston even feels empty. But it's Easter, which is an interesting day to feel a little empty. Because we celebrate on Easter that Jesus, a few days prior, 3 days before, had sacrificed himself and had died. And his friends were so sad. And that all they wanted to do was go to where his grave was, which is a tomb, a cave cut out of a big rock, and make sure that his body was okay. And the story goes in our gospel that when his friends arrived, sad and mourning and wanting to see their friend, they looked in the tomb and it was empty. There was no Jesus there. In fact, in some of our Gospels it says that there were angels there that alerted them that there was no Jesus's body to be found in that tomb. It was as empty as our orange juice carton. It was empty like our churches. It was empty like our restaurants. And they were so sad because they thought it was terrible, horrible news. That in all the sadness and the grief, on top of the fact that their friend had died, and that God among us was no longer there, they thought. That someone had also moved Jesus's body, or that his tomb was messed up by someone who didn't like him. And instead, God had good news. Just because something is empty doesn't mean that there is no God there. In fact, it means that there's a new life out there somewhere. There's a whole new way to see life. In the same way that even though our churches are empty right now, and sometimes we feel empty, that God loves us. And that God may not be where we thought that God would be, but God is actually out in the world living, because our God is not dead. Our God is alive. And even if we don't exactly know what God is doing right now, the hope that Easter gives us all the time is that there is new life happening around us all the time, even if something looks empty or like bad news. God is with us. And we see little glimmers of that living God out in essential workers, in doctors, in nurses, in the beautiful chalk art we see all around our neighborhood, in all the ways that we get to spend more time with our family, and in all the ways that God is making space for new joy together. That doesn't mean that the emptiness isn't hard. That doesn't mean that we can't be sad, or that we can't feel confused because of how much everything is changing. But what it does mean is that the emptiness is not the final thing. The sadness is not here to stay forever. And that there is nothing, not even death, not even emptiness, not even sickness, not even fear, that can separate us from the love and the life of our living God, Jesus. That's the good news. And we are so thankful. And that's why we celebrate Easter, because we're still connected by the ways that God is living in us and out in the world, even if we can't be together. Thanks be to God.